Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number for the full moon that's going to be occurring on May 23rd, 2024. Before we get into the forecast, this, of course, is a general forecast. If you're interested in learning more about your own personal numerology, your forecasts, or anything to do with the energies that you signed up for in this lifetime, I would love to take a look. I'd love to work with you. You can book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. All right, let's take a look. Life path number 7. So where I wish I could say that this full moon is going to bring the energy of unicorns and lollipops and rainbows, and for some of you it might, and I hope it does. But for, the majority of you or all of you, you're going to be working with the energy of the 16-7. So ultimately your own vibration of the 7, but you have this influencing energy of the 16. And when we have this even in a cycle, whether it's in a life path or if it's in a cycle, it can be a little challenging. Or it can be very challenging, but it's really forcing us to see something that we've been ignoring or unable to see that is affecting our life in some way, whether it's our relationships or how we're showing up in the world, our contributions, our thoughts about self, etc. So when we move through a 16-7 cycle, it can be very a sort of come to Jesus type of moment where it's like we really need to see something about ourselves or how we're showing up in the world. And we need to make the appropriate modifications in order to see different results, right? But we're probably going to have to get very real about some area of our life and make those changes if we want to see more aligned, sort of better results. So for you all, I would say the key word for this full moon is going to be pride. There's definitely something here when it comes to your relationships, for sure, because you have this vibration of the 6 in the 16, right? 16-7. There's something here where your perception may be off when it comes to your relationships. You may be seeing these connections one way, right? And of course, we're going to see them through our own perspective. That's just how life works, right? That we have to see life through the way that we move through it. But there's something here that's asking you to see things differently when it comes to your relationships, because any area within your relationships where there's struggle or difficulty or miscommunication or whatever it may be, this energy is really asking you to take a step back and to see, where is it that you are contributing to that miscommunication, to that disconnect, to the trouble that's happening in that connection? Because as we know, relationships are two-way streets and it's never one-sided. So there's a lot of interplay, right? So the 16-7 coming through, there's a strong emphasis or focus on relationships, but also on checking your pride. Where is it that your pride is keeping you from connecting with someone? Where is it that your pride is keeping you from really sort of having the empathy and compassion and grace that is needed to have a healthy relationship? It's not sort of minimizing or invalidating your experience and saying this didn't happen or you can't feel this way about what happened. It's not negating that. It's just saying, you can feel whatever you're feeling about the connection, but you also have to take accountability and responsibility for your role within that connection and your actions, etc. And a lot of times for any human, but especially for 7s, 7s can sometimes fall to be more prideful at times, and that can kind of get them stuck in their ways or be too stubborn when it comes to, apologizing or making amends or whatever it is, and really owning up to sort of their side of the fence. And so I do think that this 16-7 is coming in, especially with a strong emphasis on relationships, to say, check your pride. It may be something where you have to swallow your pride for a bit and really be the bigger person and initiate that conversation and initiate that healing between you and the other person. And it comes back to how much do you care about the connection? If you really don't care about the connection, then, do your thing, whatever. But if you actually care about the connection, then, it's going to serve you better to swallow your pride and to make the moves that you need to make in order to bring harmony and peace and balance back into that connection. You could see sort of things come up around conflict resolution where you have to find ways to sort of have better conflict resolution when it comes to your relationships. And all of this is serving you in the long run, right? Like when we can learn to swallow our pride, when we can not be too stubborn, when we can have great conflict resolution, this serves us in having healthier relationships moving forward. So it's not punitive. It's just saying, hey, you need to look at where it is that you're contributing to this connection in a way that's not so healthy. I would also say there's a strong emphasis here for not isolating, not becoming the hermit, not becoming so focused that you are no longer integrating into the world, that you're not, welcoming in those other connections. So put yourself out there. This is a great time to put yourself out there to, follow your own inner guidance, your own intuition, and do what feels good, but not to the point of isolation. Also pay attention to your health at this time, because when we move through a 16-7 cycle or a 7 cycle in general, a lot can come up with our health, that, holistic health, to show us where things are out of balance, that we need to make some adjustments to help us to get back into sort of holistic health balance, right? So a lot to work with here, but I would say there's a big emphasis on relationships, but your role within those relationships. So might be a lot of time, or might need some time for self-reflection and contemplation to see where it is that you can show up and approach things differently so that you can get different outcomes. You have no control over the other person, obviously, but you always have control of how you show up to a connection, and that is going to make a difference. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.